Now let's talk about the panels in Flash. The panels again are on the right side of the screen, and we'll talk about how to work with and how to organize and expand and collapse them and so on. The panels you see here are just the default Flash panels. There are actually more panels, and you can access them through the Window menu at the top of the screen. And here are the list of all the panels in Flash. So for example, if you wanted to take a look at the Component Inspector panel, you could choose it from this menu. You can use this panel, and you can expand and collapse it just like any of the other panels. And notice that it's sort of floating, and in other words, it's not attached to any other panel groups. If you wanted this panel to be docked like the other panels are, you could simply click the area where there's no tab at the very top of the panel. And notice when you click and drag, you can move that panel around. And then just put it in between two panels on the right side of the screen. I'm not releasing my mouse button, but notice there's a light blue line that appears every time I get near an area where Flash says it's okay to drop this panel. The place where I'm holding the panel right now shows a blue line in between the Align Info and Transform panel sets and the library. So if I release the mouse button, the Component Inspector panel will then be placed in between those two panel sets. But now if I collapse the Component Inspector panel by double-clicking the tab, then you'll see that the library panel is right beneath it. And if I want to remove that panel, I can simply click the X at the top right of that panel. Now I'm back to my original panel setup. So let's say you wanted to have a custom panel set. For example, I don't use the swatches panel all the time, only for custom projects. I'm just going to remove that panel by clicking the X on the right of the swatches tab. I don't use the Info or Transform panels that often either, so I'm going to get rid of those panels in the same way by clicking the X on the right of those tabs. And now I just have my Align panel, my Library panel, and my Color panel. I want my Library panel expanded, and I want to have my Align and Color panels collapsed. So now, if you want to save your custom layout, which I want to do right now, just go to Window, Workspace, then choose Save Current. Then you can give your workspace a name. Call this Todd's Animation. I would use a layout like this to create animations. Then click OK. And now if you ever want to access your custom workspace, you choose Window, Workspace, Todd's Animation, or whatever your workspace name is. Click on the Workspace button at the bottom of the timeline and choose your workspace. In this menu, you can also bring your workspace back to the default Flash workspace, which we'll do right now by clicking the default option. And now we're back to the default workspace. And there's a look at working with panels.